Good morning, this is Taylor Williams. Today we're building Ethernet cables. Step one is just going to be introducing the equipment. We need an Ethernet cable. This is unshielded twisted pairs. We use RJ45 connectors. We'll have one crimping tool with the wire cutters attached. Stripping tool, which you might use if we can't use the connecting tool to strip the cables. One cable tester with batteries. Oops. First step is going to be deciding which cable to make, as seen on the steps. First, we'll start out with a crossover cable. First step is to cut the plastic sheath about 1 inch away from the end of the cut table. So we're going to strip the wire about 1 inch away. Making sure to cut through just the sheathing, not the wires underneath. Excellent. To have the exposed wires underneath. Now, separate the wires to ensure that they are correct, as listed above. Unwind and untwist to ensure you have all the wire pairs correct. All right. Now, we need to make sure that the wires are straightened. That's the next step. And ensuring that we have the correct order of the wires for our first end. That's our little straightener. All right, we need to order the wires for a crossover cable. We'll do the left side first, which will be orange, white. Orange, green, white, blue, blue, white, green, brown, white, and brown. As shown here. Once we have these in the correct order, I need to get rid of a little bit of this wiring. All right. We can see we have the correct order for the first set. Orange, white, orange, green, white, blue, blue, white, green, brown, white, and brown. I want to ensure that the wires are together while ensuring to pinch it to make sure that we don't lose the order of it. Then we're going to make sure that they are still straight. And while pinching down, excuse me, we're now going to use the cutting tool in order to cut across the wires to shorten them. And I lose the little wires. All right, clean up the workstation as we go. All right, now we're going to take one RJ45 connector. And while placing it with the prong side down, we will slide the cable into their respective slots and ensure that the wires touch at the end of the connector. I'm still holding it to ensure that it stays correctly. We will insert it into the crimping tool, this end, and with the prong facing up. Once it is thoroughly seated, we'll crimp it to make sure to hold the cable in correctly. All right. We'll repeat the steps for the opposite end, ensuring that the wires are in the correct order. And I'm going to take out an RJ45 to prepare for it. For our crossover cable, we'll begin stripping the cable down approximately 1.5 inches. And twisting all of the wire pairs again. All right, now that we have the wires undone, make sure to go green, white, then green, then orange, white, then blue, blue, white, and orange, then brown, white, and brown. And while we ensure that these are remaining in the correct order, attempt to straighten the wires by twisting them around to make sure that they are straight and will fit into the RJ45 correctly, while making sure not to lose the order. Very important. All right. Double check to make sure they are correct. We have green, white, green, orange, white, blue, blue, white, and orange, brown, white, and brown. So we are in the correct order. I'm going to make sure they stay together, and we will cut it again. About a 1/2 inch from the end. And we'll make sure they remain in the right order. All right. So now that we have them in the right order, green, white, green, orange, white, and blue, blue, white, and orange, brown, white, and brown. We'll take our connector, the tab facing down, slide our cables in, and ensuring they are all the way up into the end. There we go. As with the last, we'll place it into the crimping tool, make sure that it is fully seated, and crimp until you hear a click. All right, that is one complete crossover cable. Next, we will jump into a straight through cable. We're going to clean up some of this mess. And we will grab the second set of wires. Alright. Steps will remain the same. The difference is the order of the wires will remain the same for both sets. One thing I did forget to mention for the crossover cable, it is a Cat 5, excuse me. And we will go through similar steps up until the order of the wiring. Approximately 1 inch. Remove the sheath. Untwist all the pairs of wires. Making sure to keep them straight as possible, if possible. All right, now to get the correct order of the wires, we'll go orange, white, orange, green, white, blue, blue, white, green, brown, white, and brown. Now make sure to straighten the cables as listed in the previous steps and ensure not to go out of order. It is important to double check after every straighten to make sure you do not have to recut and start over again. All right, it's almost straightened, not quite. All right. So once again, ensure that you have the correct order. Orange, white, orange, green, white, blue, blue, white, green, brown, white, and brown. Once you ensure the order is correct, cut it down to approximately 1/2 of an inch. And we will attach an RJ45 connector. Again, the clip facing away from you. Insert the wires so that they reach the connection points at the end. It's a little difficult to see in the video. And we'll use the crimping tool again. House it completely. Have a click. And we have another RJ45 connection. Ta-da. And for the straight through for the opposite end, we will simply match the order of the wires to attach our final RJ45. Cut the end. Strip the cable. Untwist. And once they are untwisted, we'll put them back into the correct order, which again is a straight through. Will be orange, white, and orange, green, white, then blue, come on, there we are, blue, white, and then green, got them a little bit twisted. Green. And then finally brown, white, and brown. Once we have them in the correct order, we are going to straighten the wires. Making sure they are uniform. Oh man, I almost twisted the orange white around the orange, which is why it's important to straighten them all and double check. All right, so one more time. Orange, white, orange, green, white, blue, blue, white, and green, and then brown, white, and brown. Make sure to cut, leaving a uniform edge at the top, and taking the RJ45 connector with the tab facing down, slide them into their respective housings. This one's a little bit tougher. All right. And make sure that the wires reach to the ends. This one is not reaching to the end. It's being a little difficult, but we haven't crimped it yet. So what we will do, excuse me, is try to pull it out of the housing a little bit more. Now, since the housing is a little bit retracted from the cables, make sure that they look straight. And ensure the correct order yet again. We need to have orange, white, orange. Well, we have our first error of the day. So what we're going to do is keep them straight again. And we will just cut down on the housing a little bit more. And start over with a little bit more wiggle room. That's why it's good to double check. Again, get the correct order. So we need orange, white, and then orange, and then green, white, and blue, and then blue, white, and green, then brown, white, and brown. We will once again straighten as we did before. And prior to cutting, we're going to make sure they are once again in the correct order. We have orange, white to orange, green, white, blue, blue, white, green, brown, white, and brown. Now, in order to ensure the uniform height, we will cut a straight line across. Then take the RJ45, slide the housing down, and ensure that all the wires are touching at the end. Last but not least, place it into the crimping tool. Make sure it's properly seated and crimp it down. So now we have one straight through and one crossover cable. The last step is testing. As you can see here, we'll plug it into our Ethernet testing device. Plugging one into here, and one end of the cable into here. And turn on the cable tester. As you can see, they have all lit up, so the straight through cable works well. And now we'll test the crossover cable, same manner. Plug one end into here, and one into here. Numbers are in a different alignment, as the wire pairs are in a crossover pattern. As we can see, they do line up. They all do light up, but in a different order. So we can tell that the crossover cable works as well. Thank you for your time, and that concludes our wire making video.